Have you ever done everything right and still felt empty inside? Have you ever worked so hard for a result, only to realize the result did not give you the peace you thought it would? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to step into one lesson from the Bhagavad Gita that can quietly rewire how you live your entire life. Not as a theory, not as a quote you save and forget. I mean a living practice that changes how you handle pressure, relationships, success, failure, and that heavy feeling people carry when they do not know what to do next. Here are the two ideas we are going to keep returning to, like a thread through a long story. The first is that your suffering often does not come from action. It comes from attachment to the fruit of action. The second is that real freedom is not running away from life. It is learning how to act fully while remaining inwardly free, steady, and awake. Now let us enter the story behind this lesson in a way that feels real. Picture a battlefield, not a fantasy battlefield with dramatic music, but a battlefield that represents your mind when you feel torn. On one side there is your duty, your responsibility, the part of you that knows what must be done. On the other side there is your emotion, your fear, your love, your confusion, the part of you that says, I cannot do this. This is too much. I will lose something. I will lose someone. I will lose myself. That battlefield is not only in ancient scripture. That battlefield is in your bedroom when you stare at the ceiling at 2 a.m. It is in your chest when you know you need to speak a hard truth. It is in your hands when you want to quit but you also want to grow. It is in your relationships when you are trying to love someone without abandoning yourself. It is in your work when you are chasing success but losing your health. It is in your heart when you want peace but you keep feeding anxiety. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna stands at that battlefield. He is a warrior, trained, capable, and respected, but when he looks across the field and sees faces he recognizes, teachers, relatives, friends, people he grew up loving, something in him collapses. He trembles, his mouth goes dry, his body refuses to cooperate. He tells Krishna that he cannot fight. He argues that any victory would taste like poison, because it would be built on the suffering of those he once honored. Now, before we go deeper, notice what is happening. Arjuna is not stupid. Arjuna is not weak. Arjuna is a human being caught in conflicting values. That is why this story lasts through centuries, because it is not only about war, it is about inner conflict. Krishna does not respond the way many people expect. He does not say, "You are right, run away, protect your feelings." He also does not say, "Shut up, be tough, crush your emotion." Instead, he gives Arjuna something more challenging and more freeing. He gives him wisdom, and the core of that wisdom, in simple everyday language, sounds like this. Do what must be done, but do not hand your peace over to the outcome. Act from clarity, not from craving. Do your duty, but do not make your duty into a prison. Put your full heart into the work, but do not worship the reward. If you cling to results, you become a slave. If you act with awareness, you become free. That is the lesson, and if you actually live it, it changes everything. Most people suffer in two common ways. 1. They avoid action because they fear failure, rejection, or discomfort. They delay. They overthink. They wait for confidence. They wait for certainty. They call it being careful, but it is oft unfair in a polite suit. 2. They take action, but they choke it with attachment. They become obsessed with the outcome. They need it to work. They need people to approve. They need the numbers to rise. They need the partner to stay. They need the plan to go perfectly. And because they need it, They become tense, controlling, reactive, and often exhausted. The Bhagavad Gita points toward a third way: act, but do not cling. Now, the mind immediately protests. If I do not cling, will I become lazy? If I do not cling, will I stop caring? If I do not cling, how will I succeed? This is where people misunderstand the teaching. Non-attachment is not indifference. Non-attachment is not lack of passion. Non-attachment is not giving up effort. Non-attachment is caring deeply without being psychologically owned by the result. It is the difference between holding a bird gently versus gripping it so tightly you hurt it. When you grip too hard, you kill what you love. When you hold gently, you can actually protect it. This is not mystical. It is practical. Let me show you with everyday life. Think about a student preparing for an exam. If the student studies with clarity, they do the work. They rest. They repeat. They stay consistent. If they study with attachment, their mind screams, "I must get a perfect score. If I fail, I am nothing." That attachment creates panic. Panic destroys focus. Focus destroys performance. Then, the student either burns out or collapses. Same work, different inner relationship to the outcome. Different result, different suffering. Think about a person building a business. If they build with awareness, they create value, learn skills, listen to feedback, adjust, and stay steady. If they build with attachment, every sale becomes a referendum on their worth. Every rejection becomes shame. Every competitor becomes a threat. They become reactive, defensive, and they make poor decisions because they are trying to protect ego rather than serve reality. Same effort, different inner posture, different life. Think about love. If you love with awareness, you show up, communicate, and care. You give, but you also keep your boundaries. You do not abandon yourself. If you love with attachment, you become anxious, controlling, and hungry for reassurance. You demand certainty from another human being who is also changing and imperfect. Then love turns into fear, wearing the mask of devotion. Same relationship, different inner stance, different suffering. This is why this lesson is invaluable. It is not only spiritual, it is psychological. It is the direct medicine for inner chaos. Now let me tell you a long story that will make this lesson land in the gut, not just in the head. Imagine a man named Jonah. Jonah is not a saint. He is not a villain. He is just a person trying to live. Jonah grew up in a family where praise was rare and criticism was normal. He learned early that being good meant achieving. He learned that love came with conditions. He learned that if he performed well, he might be safe. If he did not, he would be ignored or shamed. So Jonah becomes the kind of person who chases results, grades, promotions, money, attention, approval. He does not even realize he is chasing love disguised as success. At first it works. He gets external wins. People admire him. He climbs. But inside, he is never at rest. Even when he wins, he cannot enjoy it. He is already anxious about losing it. He is already thinking about the next goal. He is already scanning for threats. This is one of the most painful paradoxes in modern life. People chase achievement to feel secure, but the chase itself creates chronic insecurity. One day Jonah gets what he thinks he wants: a big role, a bigger salary, a title that makes his family proud. For a few weeks, he feels like he made it. Then the pressure begins. People expect more. He must deliver. He must prove he deserves the seat. He starts sleeping less. His body becomes tense. His mind becomes noisy. His relationships start thinning because he has no time. And even when he has time, he is not present. He is physically there, but mentally he is in the future. One evening, after a long day, Jonas is in his car in a parking garage and realizes he does not want to go home. Not because he hates home, but because he cannot turn off the performance. Even at home, he feels judged by invisible eyes. He whispers a sentence that scares him. What if I do all of this and still do not feel alive? This is Arjuna on the battlefield, not with arrows, but with anxiety. Around that time, Jonah hears a talk about the Bhagavad Gita. The speaker says something like this: "You have a right to your action, but not to the fruits of your action. Do the work, but let go of the outcome." Jonah gets annoyed. He thinks, that is easy to say if you are not paying my bills. That is what people say when they have privilege. That is what people say when they do not care. But the sentence keeps echoing, not because it is comforting, but because it touches a nerve. He begins to notice that his suffering is not only coming from work, it is coming from the constant inner demand that work must produce a specific emotional payoff. He needs it to make him feel worthy. He needs it to make him feel safe. He needs it to silence his childhood wound. No career can do that. So Jonah experiments. He decides he will do his work with full effort, but he will stop using the outcome as a measure of his worth. He will treat the outcome as feedback, not identity. That sounds simple. It is not, because attachment is a habit. It is a nervous system pattern. It is a karmic groove. The first week he tries, the old anxiety fights back. When an email is delayed, he spirals. When a meeting goes slightly wrong, he replays it for hours. When someone criticizes him, he feels like a child again. This is where most people quit the practice. They think, this is not working. I am still anxious. But the teaching is not a switch. It is training. Like building muscle. It feels difficult before it feels natural. So Jonah keeps going. He adds a simple daily practice. Before he starts work, he sits quietly for a few minutes. He feels his breath. He notices the tension in his shoulders. He tells himself, I will act with sincerity. I will accept whatever result comes. I will learn and adjust. I will not punish myself with obsession. He does not say it like a magical spell. He says it like a commitment. Then a test comes. As it always does when you practice, a project fails. Not completely, but enough to sting. Jonah feels the familiar collapse. He wants to panic. He wants to blame someone. He wants to work all night to fix it and prove himself. This is the battlefield. This is the exact moment the teaching was made for. He pauses. He breathes. He asks himself a question. What is my duty right now? Not what will make me look good. Not what will protect my ego. What is the honest duty? The honest duty is to take responsibility for what he can, to communicate clearly, to repair what is repairable, and to learn. So he does that. He sends a calm message. He owns what needs owning. He does not dramatize. He does not collapse. He does not over-explain. He does the next right action. And something surprising happens. He feels a small space inside. Not happiness, but space. A gap between the event and his identity. That gap is freedom. Over time, Jonah begins to feel more peace, even though work is still demanding. He starts making better decisions because he is no longer acting from fear. His relationships improve because he becomes present. His body relaxes because he is not constantly bracing for disaster. And here is the part that might shock you. his performance improves, not because he is chasing harder, but because he is less disturbed. This is one of the hidden truths. Non-attachment often improves effectiveness. When you are not emotionally choking the outcome, your intelligence flows. This is karma yoga in lived form. Action as practice, work as spiritual path, not because the work is holy, but because your way of working becomes a mirror that reveals your mind, and that mirror can awaken you. Now let us return to Arjuna and Krishna, because Jonah's story is basically a modern Nico. Arjuna wants to run away. He wants to avoid pain. He wants to avoid guilt. He wants to avoid the loss of familiar identity. Krishna tells him that avoiding his duty will not end suffering. It will simply create a different kind of suffering, the suffering of regret, cowardice, and confusion. Krishna is not glorifying violence. Krishna is pointing to the deeper principle. You cannot escape your inner work by changing the outer scene. Wherever you go, you take your mind with you. So what is duty here? Duty is not only your job. Duty is your responsibility to truth. Duty is the thing your conscience whispers when you are quiet. Sometimes your duty is to speak. Sometimes it is to leave. Sometimes it is to stay and do the work. Sometimes it is to forgive. Sometimes it is to set a boundary. Sometimes it is to stop complaining and start building. Duty is not always loud. Often it is simple and uncomfortable. Now the key. The Gita says do your duty without attachment. That means you do not act for ego, for applause, for fear, for obsession. You act because it is right, because it is aligned, because it is the next truthful step. This is how you reduce suffering. You stop using action as a way to fill the emptiness of identity. You start using action as an expression of clarity. Let me bring this into relationships, because this is where people suffer the most. Imagine someone named Leela. Leela loves deeply, but she also fears deeply. Her partner is not cruel, just inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes distant. Leela tries to be understanding, but inside she is anxious. She keeps checking, she keeps asking, she keeps needing reassurance. One day she reads about non-attachment and thinks it means she should not care. That is not right. If she stops caring, she becomes numb. If she keeps clinging, she becomes anxious. So what is the middle way? The middle way is to love without gripping. Leela begins practicing something radical. She focuses on her duty in love. Her duty is to be honest, kind, and clear. Her duty is to communicate needs. Her duty is to respect herself. Her duty is to offer love without manipulation. So she stops trying to control her partner with anxiety. She stops chasing responses. She stops performing for affection. She becomes steady. Then she notices something. When she becomes steady, the relationship reveals its true nature. Either the partner rises to meet her because they feel safe and respect her clarity, or the partner cannot meet her because they were benefiting from her insecurity. In either case, Leela wins because she regains her center. This is the spiritual point. The outcome is not always the relationship staying. The outcome is you becoming free. Freedom is not always getting what you want. Freedom is not needing what you want to be okay. That is a hard sentence, but it is a liberating one. Now let us talk about something that sounds spiritual, but is actually the core of mental health. Equanimity. Equanimity is the ability to remain inwardly balanced through gain and loss, praise and blame, pleasure and pain, not because you are cold, but because you are awake. Most people are emotionally tossed around by external events. A compliment lifts them, a criticism crushes them, a good day makes them proud. a bad day makes them hopeless. The Gita points to a steadiness that is not dependent on weather. How do you build that steadiness? You practice acting without clinging to fruit. Every time you act from duty rather than from craving, you strengthen equanimity. Every time you accept feedback without collapsing into shame, you strengthen equanimity. Every time you do the right thing even when nobody notices, you strengthen equanimity. Every time you let go of needing immediate reward, you strengthen equanimity. This is cultivation. Slow, quiet, profound. Now, I want to address a misunderstanding that can become toxic if you are not careful. People sometimes use this teaching to tolerate harm. They say, I should not be attached, so I will stay in an abusive environment. That is not wisdom. That is denial. Non-attachment does not mean accepting disrespect. In many cases, your duty is to leave what harms you. Your duty is to protect life, including your own. So act without attachment does not mean do nothing. It means do what is right without being driven by fear or ego. If you must end a relationship, you can do it without hatred. If you must set a boundary, you can do it without cruelty. If you must confront injustice, you can do it without poisoning your heart. That is compassion with strength. Now let us go deeper into the inner mechanics, because this lesson becomes even more powerful when you see how the mind works. Attachment to fruit creates three kinds of suffering. First, anxiety before the result arrives. You worry, you imagine failure, you rehearse disaster, you lose sleep. Second, tension during action. You force, you grip, you rush, you cannot enjoy the process. Third, disappointment or arrogance after the result arrives. If you fail, you collapse. If you succeed, you become afraid of losing success, or you become inflated, which is another kind of insecurity. So attachment creates suffering on all sides of time. Before, during, and after. Non-attachment cuts suffering at the root. It does not guarantee success, but it guarantees more inner freedom. And inner freedom often leads to wiser action, which tends to lead to better outcomes anyway. Now, let us weave in the spiritual dimension in a way that stays practical. When you act without attachment, you align with a larger intelligence. Some call it Dharma, some call it truth, some call it the way. Dharma is not just religion. It is the natural order of things, the rightness of an action that is aligned with reality rather than with ego. When you align with Dharma, you stop constantly negotiating with yourself. You stop making excuses. You stop bending truth for comfort. You become clean inside. That cleanliness is what people often describe as inner peace. Not the peace of perfect circumstances, but the peace of inner integrity. And integrity is one of the rarest forms of wealth. Now let me tell you another story, this time about failure, because most people think non-attachment is only useful when you succeed. It is actually most useful when you lose. Imagine someone named Priya. Priya has a dream. She wants to create something meaningful. She works on it for years. She sacrifices weekends. She takes risks. She pours her heart into it. Then it fails publicly. People criticize. Some people mock. The numbers are bad. The doors do not open. Priya feels humiliated. She thinks, I wasted my life. I was foolish. I should have played safe. This is where many people become bitter. They say life is unfair. They stop trying. They protect ego by shrinking. But Priya encounters the Gita lesson. Do your duty, but do not cling to fruit. She sits with the pain and asks a different question. Was my duty to guarantee success? Or was my duty to act with sincerity and learn? she realizes something that changes her. The fruit was not only the external result. The fruit was also who she became through the attempt. She learned skills. She learned resilience. She learned clarity. She learned how to face fear. She learned what matters. Those inner fruits cannot be taken. So she continues, not with blind optimism, but with grounded devotion to the process. She improves. She adjusts. She tries again. And because she is no longer desperate, she becomes more creative. Because she is no longer terrified of judgment, she becomes more honest. Because she is no longer clinging, she becomes more free. Eventually something works. But even if it did not, her life would still be meaningful because she became a person of courage rather than a person of regret. That is the deeper win. Now, if you are listening unthinking, this sounds good, but how do I actually practice it? Let us make it simple. Every day you have small battlefields. A message that triggers you. A delay that annoys you. A person who disappoints you. A task you do not want to do. A craving to quit. A temptation to lie. A desire to impress. Those moments are practice. In those moments, ask 2 questions. What is my duty right now? Can I do it fully, without demanding a particular emotional payoff? Then breathe, do the action, and release. Release does not mean you stop caring. Release means you stop gripping. Now, I want to bring this all the way home with one more long story that blends duty, attachment, compassion, and awakening, because real life is never one topic. Imagine someone named Marcus. Marcus has aging parents. He also has his own family, his own work, his own dreams. He feels torn. He wants to be a good son, a good partner, a good parent, a good worker, a good human. He tries to do everything, and slowly he starts to break. He becomes resentful. He feels unseen. He thinks, no one but appreciates me. He thinks life is taking from him more than it is giving. One night he explodes. He says things he regrets. He hurts people he loves. Then he feels ashamed. He tries to fix it with apology. But guilt remains. This is Arjuna again, overwhelmed, confused, collapsing. Marcus encounters the Gita lesson, and at first he thinks it is cold, detached from fruit. What does that mean when people are suffering? Then he sees the deeper meaning. The fruit he was clinging to was the image of being the perfect person. He wanted to be seen as good. He wanted gratitude. He wanted everyone to recognize his sacrifice. He wanted life to reward him with appreciation and smoothness. When reality did not give him that fruit, he suffered. Then he made others suffer. So he begins practicing duty without ego. He chooses one clear action at a time. He cares for his parents with sincerity, not with martyrdom. He supports his partner with presence, not with scorekeeping. He shows up at work with focus, not with self-punishment. He takes care of his body because that is part of duty too. And when gratitude comes, he receives it lightly. When gratitude does not come, he does not collapse. He stops keeping a secret ledger of who owes him. That ledger is one of the biggest sources of resentment in families. As Marcus practices, he becomes kinder, not because he is forcing kindness, but because he is less burdened by craving. He becomes stronger, not because he is hard, but because he is steady. This is what awakening looks like in daily life. It is not escaping responsibility. It is carrying responsibility without losing the heart. Now I will bring it back to you, because this is not an ancient story. This is your life. If you are feeling stuck, ask yourself, what am I clinging to? Maybe you are clinging to the fruit of approval. You want everyone to understand you. That is a fruit you cannot control. Maybe you are clinging to the fruit of certainty. You want guarantees. Life does not give guarantees. Maybe you are clinging to the fruit of perfect timing. You want things to happen on schedule. Reality rarely obeys. Maybe you are clinging to the fruit of control over another person. You want them to change. That is their work, not yours. Now ask, what is my duty? Your duty might be to speak truth. Your duty might be to act with discipline. Your duty might be to stop avoiding discomfort. Your duty might be to rest and heal. Your duty might be to apologize sincerely. Your duty might be to set a boundary. Your duty might be to begin again. Then do it fully, and let the fruit come when it comes. This is not passive. This is powerful, because when you stop clinging, you become clean. When you become clean, your mind becomes clear. When your mind becomes clear, your action becomes intelligent. When your action becomes intelligent, your life changes. Not because the universe favors you, but because you stop sabotaging yourself with inner chaos. Now let us close with a reflection that ties everything together. The most valuable fruit you can gain is not money, not romance, not praise, not status. Those can come and go. The most valuable fruit is inner freedom. Inner freedom means you can face success without arrogance. You can face failure without collapse. You can face praise without addiction. You can face blame without bitterness. You can face change without panic. You can face loss without losing your soul. That is the fruit the Gita points toward. So the next time your mind starts bargaining, if I do this, I must get that. Pause. Breathe. Remember the battlefield. Remember Arjuna. Remember that the war is inside, and the victory is steadiness. Act with sincerity. Release the grip. Keep the heart open. Keep the mind clear. Keep walking. Thank you for coming back to the channel and spending this time with me. If this lesson touched something in you, share a moment when you realized your suffering was coming from clinging to a result, and what happened when you loosened the grip. Your story may help someone who is standing on their own battlefield tonight. Subscribe, like, and leave a comment so we can keep building a community of practice, compassion, and inner strength. I will see you in the next one.